On today's episode of the Story Detective, I have assumed the vlogging position. That doesn't sound quite right, but I'm going to be vlogging my progress for today. I am going to try to beat my word count. My word count has been as low as 238 this week and as high as a little over 1,300. Today I would like to beat that, maybe even get some kind of normal word count, which is around 2,000 words a day for me. That's what's coming up on today's episode. I even have my Nano cup. Stick around. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about the Evergreen Writing Oasis. It's a virtual retreat where I'll be participating with a whole lot of other Authortube personalities. It's happening the week of July 19th, right at the end of that notorious second week of Camp Nanowrimo, when the creative juices begin to wane. A perfect way to recharge your writing motivation. And don't forget to check out their merch store. This event is free, fun, and absolutely time well spent. Hope to see you there. So today shouldn't be too awfully hard to get some kind of a decent word count, or at least a modest word count. I'm still working on the editing phases of my novel, and today is going to be about rewrites. I have here on my iPad the previous draft, and I'm going to be looking at that, doing some rewrites and editing as I copy it over into this computer. I want to do a general fix, and I think work on the major things first. That would be primary. If I don't find a lot of major things, then I will start to tie up some of the minor things, because every draft is a part of getting that process to be cohesive and to try to fix as many things as we can. But you can't do it all in one draft. That's the whole idea behind doing subsequent drafts, because if we could do that one or two drafts they always talk about and a polish, like is so popular in the Stephen King book, I think that the best writers that I have talked to have said they hope 2 or 3 drafts can do it, but a lot of them took more. So don't kid yourself or feel bad if you're taking 4 or 5 or even half a dozen different drafts. You're working on the thing until you get it right. And at least that's my motto. You don't want to take forever, but you don't want to sell yourself short and think you can take care of it all in a couple of drafts. Let's get going on the first round here and see what I can get in terms of word count. This month I'm discussing the creative process for developing characters. And, shameless plug, if you haven't seen my videos on the analysis of Spider-Man, you may want to check them out. The current chapter is all about creating an effective backstory that makes characters believable. In this video, we're going to be looking at some of the techniques from a book called Screenplay by Syd Field. It's a book I've come back to after several years to help inspire myself through reading and rereading some craft books to get out of my slump. You'll be hearing more about this book in future videos. In fact, I may do an entire series on it. There's a lot to offer here, as well as being the backbone which pioneered screenplay structure prior to Save the Cat. Let's take a look at a few things Mr. Field has to say about characters. In order to establish a fully developed portrait of your main character, separate the components into 2 basic categories: interior and exterior. The interior takes place from your hero's birth up to the point where your story begins. These are the components and the process which forms character. The exterior takes place the moment your story begins until the last line is written. This part of the process reveals character, and they're revealed through their actions. This makes up the distinction between knowing your character and revealing them on the page. This diagram breaks it down pretty clearly and is from the book. Okay, so here's what happened. And no, I didn't magically just appear in a different shirt. This is actually the end of week 2, so we're skipping ahead in time. My memory filled up and I didn't get to finish my week 1 vlog. The end result of that day, I ended up getting 1,997 words. So it was a pretty good day, around 2,000, so it was kind of an average day for me. So today, jumping into the week 2 challenge, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Today's challenge is compliments of Nicole Marcina. And if you haven't seen her channel, I will leave the link in the description below. Go check it out and subscribe. She recently did 10-minute sprint challenge. And I thought it's kind of interesting. It breaks it up. It's almost what I would normally write for my writing time in a day, but getting those shorter sprints might be more effective. So what I'm going to do, probably do like 3 of them, because I'm not going to stop and update after every 10 minutes. I'm going to do them in batches of 3, and then the final round will be 4 for the finale. So that way I'll have 3 rounds, and we'll see if it ends up being on a par with what I got done during last week's challenge. So if you're ready to go, let's jump into the first set of 3 and see how many words I get. Once you've established your hero and have all the components in place, it's time to think about how they react with other characters and figure out the relationships, because this is how characters reveal themselves. All dramatic characters interact in 3 ways. 1, they experience conflict in achieving their wants and needs. How do they go about meeting their goal, and who or what stands in their way? 2, they interact with other characters, but is the interaction antagonistic, friendly, or indifferent? French film director Jean Renoir says it's more effective dramatically to portray a son of a bitch than a nice guy. Character flaws are always worth thinking about. 3, characters interact with themselves. They have to overcome inner demons and fears which are inhibiting them from meeting their goal. The inner landscape is always at odds with the exterior. To best utilize these aspects in a way that makes your character multidimensional, separate their lives into 3 categories: professional, personal, and private. Professional is what they do for a living and where. How does their job relate to who they are and the overall plot? Because all things are connected. Personal, are they single, married, uninterested? Are they social or isolated? Who are their friends, family? What are their hobbies? This is where the relationships become important to who they are and their place in the story as well. Private, what your character does when they are alone. Watch TV, work out, do they have pets? The things they do or are interested in within their private moments reflect why their goal or want is important. It might also show their personal fear, anger, or even lack of self-esteem. Those inner demons show themselves in a physical way. All of these things come under the heading of know your character. So sprint number 3 got me 218 words. So the total for the first 3 sprints is 634 words, so that's not too bad. That would actually, if it keeps progressing, be a little more than 2,000 by the end of this. So let's dive into the second round of 3 sprints and see how this continues. Building a character consists of several things in order to bring a semblance of life to your mental children. It's a process which consists of creating context for the character, then filling the context with content. First, define the need of your character. What is it they wish to achieve? Create a biography that fleshes out exterior and interior landscapes. Isolate the professional, personal, and private elements. In order to fully grasp where to take these points, one must consider the question, what is character? Consider what it is that all people have in common. We all want love, to be happy, healthy, wealthy. We all have similar fears and insecurities as well. Then ask what separates us, because what separates us is point of view, how we view the world. Every person has a point of view. Your character could be a political activist, a student, a teacher, rich or poor. All of these things represent point of view. What are your character's point of view about work, race, environment? Look for ways to dramatize point of view. Character is also attitude, their way of behaving, opinions, all of which generate conflict. Character is personality. Are they cheerful, serious, or shy? Maybe they're devilish or mischievous, all of which can be shown to reflect character. Character is behavior. The essence of character is action. What a person does is what they are. Character is also revelation, because during the course of your story, we will be learning things about your character as they reveal themselves. Identification is also an aspect of character, because as we read, we've all experienced those moments where we think, I know someone like that. How well do you know your characters? Can readers identify with them through the facets we've talked about here? Okay, those 3 sprints I did a little better than the first 3. So I got 244 for the last sprint, the third one of this group, and that makes it 701 words for the 3 sprints total. So adding that to the first set of sprints, which was 634, I'm 1335. So let's see where the grand finale of 4 sprints in a row gets me. Wherever you are in your writing craft, it's important to dig into not just the rules and opinions, but where they originated from. With each new retelling of all the theories and opinions on craft, improvements may be made, but a lot is also left behind. This has been my Cliff Notes paraphrasing a few chapters on character from a book primarily on story structure. But compare this to Save the Cat. There's a lot more food for thought, or potentially a companion piece to that book. If you read only one book on craft, you essentially hope the writer's point of view will give you everything you need. Unfortunately, no matter how brilliant a single teacher or mentor is, no one knows everything. Not to mention, you're relying on your sole understanding of the content. Being a writer is a lifetime job, and unfortunately, most of the greats have passed on to that great library in the sky. And how many amazing characters are being created today? Movies are doing remakes of classics, relying on long-established characters, some of whom have been around for decades. The modern writer must expand their view and is forced to dig a little deeper, especially those who self-publish. Ultimately, we have to be our own best editors, or a story detective, shaping characters who will carry our messages to the world and into generations beyond our own. I managed to get 452 words done in that last 10-minute stretch. So let's add them all together. These last 4 sprints I got 1,150 words. So if I add that with the others, it looks like I got 2,485 words. So this is actually my best day so far this month. So Nicole, if you're watching, thank you for inspiring this 10-10 kind of scenario. It definitely works, and the shorter sprints, I think I got more going in that time, and keeping them tight. I took a break of a few minutes in between, not that long, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. It varied from sprint to sprint. I'll take it. This was pretty good. I hope you've enjoyed writing with me and my ramblings, and I hope your own Camp Nano is going reasonably well. So until next time, as always, keep those keyboards clacking.